Welcome students. In the construction techniques and project management, we are seeing about the unit 4. Right? In the unit 4, we are seeing first about the hoisting equipments. What is hoist and cranes? What is hoisting means? Lifting in the vertical direction. Right? Lifting in vertical direction. Okay. That we call it as the hoist. So last class, we are seeing about the cranes and we saw two types of cranes. One is mobile crane and fixed crane. And last class we saw about the types of mobile cranes. So this class we will continue with the topic and we will also see elaborately about the fixed cranes. And also we will see about what are the other hoisting equipment, small hoisting equipment. For example, a lift. Lift is also comes under the hoisting equipment by which we are taking main material to the higher floors. A vertical direction, right? So that also comes under the hoisting equipments. Gantry girders in the labs, in the big industries to lift on materials. All these things that we will be coming under the hoisting equipment. Okay, hoisting is lifting a weight from one location and moving it to the another location which is at a reasonable distance or reasonable height. Big projects such as construction of dams, industrial buildings, etc. require the hoisting equipment. So hoisting equipment includes jacks, winches, chain hoist and cranes. And we are seeing about the cranes. Crane is the only single machine which as a single piece is capable of providing three-dimensional move. That is in the vertical direction, then it can be moved to the horizontal direction and placed in the point wherever we need it. So a crane is a type of machine generally equipped with a hoist rope, wire ropes or chains and sheets. It can be used both to lift and lower the materials, to lift the materials, to lower the materials and to place the material even at a certain distance, horizontally also. So it is mainly used for lifting heavy things and transporting them to the other places, either to the vertical higher places or to horizontally higher places we can use it. It uses one or more simple machines to create mechanical advantage and thus move beyond the normal capability of a human. So that is where the human power is not sufficient to carry some weight. There is a tons of weight. We can use these cranes to even lift it to a higher distance and also lift it horizontally to a longer distance. So major consideration in the design is that the crane must be able to lift the weight of the load without overturning, without getting anything repaired with the crane. We have to be able to lift the load. And also it should not topple, that is overturning, topple, and the crane should not rupture. The weight should be such that, and the principle involved is the lifting capacity and the stability of the crane. How much the weight the crane has to take, that much weight has to be given in the bottom part of the crane or the rear part of the crane so that the stability will be maintained. So mobile cranes and fixed cranes, we already saw about the mobile crane is a type of crane where we can take the crane to that is a spot itself, construction sites. If different construction sites are there, we can take the mobile crane to the different construction site to make the things possible. The next one, it is a fixed type of crane which lifts the load without any appreciable movement. It won't have the horizontal movement. It will be fixed at a place and the work will be done from there. One example is the tower cranes. So this is a mobile crane. Already we have seen about this. I told you this should be having so much of weight enough so that it will compensate and it will not allow the crane to topple when these sheets are able, the hook is able to take that much of weight. So that also a mobile crane is of two types. One is the crawler wheel. This is a crawler wheel and this is a wheel mounted, right? It is a crawler and wheel mounted crane. Mobile cranes are there. So when a crane lifts a load attached to the hoist line that passes over the sheave located at the bottom part of the machine, there is a tendency to tip the machine over, right? So this is a tipping condition. Tipping condition means when the hook is going to take a load, right? How much load it has to take, the crane should be able to stable itself because it will have some disturbances, right? But at that time, if it loses, the weight is much more with the hook, then the crane will lose and it will topple or it will rupture. So instead of that, it should have a very good stability so that the load that is taken by the hook will be counteracted by the crane body, right? So that we call it as a tipping condition. So what is tipping load, right? So if I am going to say, see this, when the crane hook is going to take, and here in order to avoid the crane to fall down, the load will be counter taken by this crane, that is the bottom part of the crane, that we call it as the tipping load, right? So tipping condition of specific radius we will be having. A partial safety factor with respect to the tipping is introduced. So it is a crawler mounted, it is 75%, and for rubber tire mounted machine it is 85%, that is 0.75. We call it as 0.75 partial safety factor. Here it is 0.85 and here after it is 0.85. Okay. So when I tell the wheel mounted, the partial safety factor is 0.85, and for crawler mounted machines the partial safety factor is 0.75. So the load capacity will be depending upon the quadrant position of the boom with respect to the this machine's undercarriage. How much weight is taken, how much radius it has to take, how much height it has to take, everything that depends upon the tipping load. Okay. So in the crawler cranes, over the side, over the drive end of the tracks and over the idler end of the tracks. These are the three positions that we have to take care. So when we go for a wheel mounted crane, it is over the sides, over the rear of the carrier and over the front of the carrier. So what will be the factors that will affect the actual crane capacity at the jib? Wind forces. So because the crane has very height, it is almost 10 feet to 30 feet height. So depending upon the height, the wind forces will be acting. So how much wind forces is acting and how much the wind forces will act on the boom. If the wind forces is more, then the crane efficiency will get less, then it can take only small amount of loads. Then it is capacity is given. And swinging the load. So the load, if we are taking now, it has to be slowly lifted. If it is taking very high now, the load will swing. So when the load swings, what happens? The center of gravity point will change. That itself will give a failure to the mobile cranes. Then hoisting speed. Hoisting is the lifting speed. When you are lifting a weight, we have to lift at the proper speed. The speed should not be over less or over more. It has to be at a certain speed and it has to be given at the that is the point where it has to be kept, the weight has to be kept, that is the stopping point of the hoist. That should be very, very carefully done. Now we are going for the fixed cranes. So one of the fixed crane is the tower cranes. So tower crane is a modern form of balanced crane that consists of the same basic parts as that of the mobile cranes. But what is the main thing is that it will be fixed to the ground. So fixed to a ground on a concrete slab, or sometimes it is attached to some structures. Above some 10 floor structures, it may have to be kept on the 10 floor structures, it can be kept, this tower crane. That is one of the modernized crane, and it is also often give the best combination of height and lifting capacity compared to the mobile cranes, because this will give more stability condition rather than the mobile cranes. Mobile cranes will be having a rupture or it can overload, but it is fixed at a point, and based on that load that is has to be transferred to the ground, the lifting capacity depends, right? Mostly this type of tower cranes are used in the shipyards, used in the buildings nowadays, where so many buildings are constructed. This tower cranes will be there with so much of booms which can be rotated at 360 degrees. Fixed to the horizontal boom is balanced asymmetrically. Not only symmetrical load has to be there, it can move here and there. So the toppling of the crane will be much minimized. Short arm carries counterweight of the concrete blocks and long arms will carry the lifting here. So this is one of the tower crane, that is a fixed crane. So it has a fixity is there. So hydraulic climbing, that is hydraulic load is given here. So which will allow the sections can be moved based on the height that is necessary, and this is the main thing. and here this is a lifting, it is attached with a hook block and it will be allowed to lift the load and keep it. So this is a counterweight, right, the main counterweight which balances the load. So the entire weight will be taken and it will be transferred, and it is a fixed base, so it can be transferred to the below. So this we call it as a pendant, and this we call it as a tower or apex. This will move this rope or shields will be allowed to move, by which the weight can be taken from the ground. So if it is loosened, this roof will come down, take the load, and if it is getting tightened, it will move up, right? So it will have better stability rather than the mobile cranes. So this is another one. The jib is at 45 degrees. It can be moving up to 45 degrees, better this side and this side. And also the horizontal position also is there. And also you can go in for this 45 degrees also. This is another advantage of the tower cranes. So what are the components of the tower cranes? This is a very important question, mostly asked in one of the question papers. Mast, the main supporting tower of the crane, it is made up of steel truss section. Based on how much load I have to carry, I have to design the truss sections. So it is not a constant thing that I can have. So in this case, I have made a truss like this. The same type of truss has to be made in the next location is not necessary. Based on how much load, based on how much, what is the purpose of the crane, the steel truss can be designed and it can be installed on the place. So once it is installed, then till the work gets over, the tower crane can be used. That is one thing. The slewing unit. The slewing unit is the sits at the top of the mast. Mast above it, the slewing unit will be there. This is the engine that enables the crane to rotate. You can see here, right? So this is the unit apex of the mast. This is a mast, that is the steel truss, above which there will be slewing unit which will allow the crane to rotate 360 degrees and also up and down. The next one, it is operating cabin. The operating cabin above the slewing machine will be the operating cabin, where the operator can sit, or nowadays it is fully automatic, where they can sit at the bottom and we can allow the crane to rotate, the crane to make all the things with the help of the computers. But that operating cabin, the operators can be there, either a computer or a man, and he can allow the crane to work. The jib is the operating arm. All of you know that we have already seen in the mobile crane. This is the operating arm which will allow the weight to be taken, and also counter jib. Counter jib will have counter weight at the back, which will have a stability, give the stability to the crane, where the hook will take the weight. Hoist winch. Hoist winch is a sheath or a rope that is attached, which will act as a winch purpose. Winch is there to carry some load with the help of a rope. So similar to that, the stability of the cranes can be maintained, because using the winch, hoist winch, we can easily shift to the center of gravity position. Okay, it will have a hoist drum, hoist cable, gearbox, gear, shift, brake, and the supporting things. You can see here. So this is the main winch and the motor, hoist winch, where it will have the platforms. It will have the drums here. This is the drum counterweight. So this is a counter jib. Everything. This is mainly, this part is the main part for providing the stability for the tower cranes, which this part is allowed to take the weight and keep it at the position, either at 360 degrees. Next one, hook. All of you know hook is used to lift the loads, and it is mainly having the jib, and it will be attached with the steel ropes, sheaves, and hook, by which it will be taken. It can be taken to the greater heights, and also it can be allowed to place it at the horizontal distance. So these tower cranes are the swing type cranes. That is, it will swing and it will go and take it and keep it in the position mostly. The height of the tower may be 25 to 30 meters based on the height. And even if you want to have for more heights, after 30 meters building or some platforms, we can again construct this tower cranes, which will be more stable. And also these cranes are mostly used for the buildings are tall buildings in the congested areas. So mobile cranes means it needs a very large area to park the mobile cranes, and also we have to find out whether the mobile crane access to the point. But the tower crane can be installed at the position where we want, and also it needs only a small area compared to the mobile cranes. The ground required for such crane is very small. That's what compared to the mobile cranes. So this is a one of the another diagram for the tower cranes. You can see this is the counterweight jib and winch. This is the rope that is connected with the hooks to take the loads. So you can see that the cranes can be, even the jib, if it is want to get it a very low position, we can bring it down and we can have the less amount. With the help of the hydraulic load, we can attach this, adjust this distance, and this arm can be shifted like this. And also you can see here the weight that this arm can be taken, it is given based on the angles. Mostly 45 degrees up and down can be permitted. You can see another diagram of this. And this is a top slewing cover plates. The slewing, it will be there. This is the operator cabin. So the slewing rig, that is, it will be turning into 180 degrees this side, 180 degrees that side, or 360 degrees. And what is the main dimensions and the capacity of the tower cranes is the jib length will be 100 to 270 feet. The mast section length will be 10 to 20 feet. Base dimension will be 13 to 13 feet to 27 to 27 feet. Mostly it will be a square dimensions because it will give more stability rather than the other type of dimensions. And the tower crane sections will be 4 feet or 8 to 8 feet. Maximum lifting capacity, you can see it is kilo pound, right? It is given in pounds. And maximum lifting capacity at the end of the jib is 2 to 13 pounds, kilopounds. Hoisting speed is 150 to 500 feet per minute. And also trolley speed is 100 to 350 feet per minute. This is very important. Hoisting speed is very important because only with the help of hoisting speed, the stability of the tower cranes or the mobile cranes depends on. The slewing speed is 0.6 to 1 RPM. So slowly it has to take and it has to slowly shift over, right? This is a schematic diagram by which you can draw easily. So this is one of the diagrams that you can see based for the tower cranes, right? It is one of the company's A's. You can see the operating cabin. It is a mast. It is there. It is a sling and it is the counter jib. It is the actual jib that has to carry the load. And you can see this is the foundation. So it needs only a small distance where we can use the trusses, different trusses to go for the foundation. You can see this is another modern type of there which is completely controlled by computers, right? So it is a counterweight. That is the winch, counterweight jib and the winch. This is also different types of tower cranes, right? You can see it is used to even fix a very large amount of truss also in a position. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so whether if it is a tower crane, what is the main advantage of the tower crane is that we can fix the tower crane at a position. If I am having so many buildings to be constructed, you can see A is one building, B is one building, C is one building, D is one building. This is a whole area. If I am going to fix the tower crane, so you can see this is a small area where I am fixing the tower cranes. So the whole radius of the boom, I can use this crane. So if the work I needed it as building A, I can use it. Even if the work is at building C, I can use it. D, B, wherever the building I need the work, with the help of this I can use it. If a mobile crane, I have to bring a mobile crane and I have to find a position where to keep the mobile crane, then I have to work. Again I have to shift the crane to the next building, then I have to start the work. But with the tower crane, it can be fixed by which the work can be easy, efficiency will be more, time can be consumed. That is the main advantage of this tower cranes. And here you can see here, this is one of the another type of tower crane. We can call it is a pedestrian operated crane. This is a tower, right? It is a tower crane which is mounted on a tower. Here one crane is there, here one crane is there, here one crane that side. So all 4 cranes can be operated at a single time for different buildings. So this is a very modern type. Nowadays there are most of the playgrounds, right? Or everything is done with this. Okay. So the tower cranes, these cranes are called self-assembling jack-up or kangaroo cranes because it will carry its own weight and it will work, right? So it will take care of themselves for lifting, for keeping, everything. We can operate differently. So it is called as a jack-up or self-assembling or kangaroo cranes. So actually it can be assembled based on the need we needed. It is not a fixed one. As I told you, tower cranes, depending upon the weight, depending upon the activities, what has to be carried out, we can assemble the thing and can grow together with the building or structures they are erecting. The ballasted base of this type, the next one, it is the travelling tower cranes. Where you can see actually this travelling tower cranes, you can see it is also move in the 2 rails. Okay. So here I can't say, we can't define this as a fixed crane, I can't define it as a mobile crane, but it is classified under the fixed crane because it will be moving only in the rails and wherever we need we can fix it and we can do the work. The working principle is like that of the fixed crane rather than the mobile cranes, and mostly where you can see it is mostly used in the shipyards. You can see for shipyards for lifting the containers and bringing it to the big trucks and other things, we are using this tower cranes. And you can see here, this is one of the other type of tower cranes I have shown here. You can see it is fixed, it can also move, that is traveling, it will take the big containers and it can move here and there and it can place it in the position either to the ship or to the trucks. So the next 2 types, important types of the tower cranes, one is the whirler cranes or we call it as a whirly crane somewhere, and the next one it is a derrick cranes. These are the 2 types most used cranes, and this is even used in the World War. It is a very old type of cranes even used in the World War. It is a dervish whose action include ecstatic dancing and whirling. What is a dervish? It is actually the meaning is that it's a Muslim clergy who will be ecstatic, it will be dancing, whirling round and round and round and round. So based on that the name has come and it will even move. This can be moved and can dance like this. It's saying now it moved in 360 degrees, moving up and down, whirling is allowed, the speed is allowed, hence it is stable because it is a tower crane. It is fixed to the ground. It is one of the fixed cranes. So now even now it is not so much used, but because it needs so much of area for the installation, but for particular purpose we are using this whirly cranes. This crane is a combination of stationary and the mobile unit. This combines the advantages of logboom of derrick crane and the mobility of the mobile crane. The combination of the derrick cranes and the mobile crane is the whirly cranes, but it comes under the fixed cranes. The rotating structure has outer framework. The boom is attached to the front of this framework. The counterweight is provided at the rear end as it is like that of the fixed cranes. On the diagonally opposite corner of the base, 2 separated motors are provided which give movement to the central shaft, so that it will act as a mobile purpose also. So the next one, it is a derrick cranes. Derrick cranes is a lifting device composed of minimum of 1 guide mast as in a gin pole which may be articulated over a load by adjusting its guides. So you can see here, so this is a one mast, this is another mast. The entire system will be articulated by the one base. So here there will be rope here. So for lifting a very big weight from a sea or a place where we cannot go and access, human accessibility is not possible, truck accessibility is not possible, we can use this derrick cranes to take the things. Okay, it is mainly used in the mines, it is used in the construction of a dam or a bridge. In the case of a very high mountains, everywhere we are using this derrick cranes. Derrick cranes are used for the basic specially buildings, constructed buildings in even today, right? It is of 2 types, it is guide derrick and stiff leg derrick. The guide derrick consists of a vertical mast. This mast is supported by the number of guides and can revolve through 360 degrees. So it is having this mast, it will be mast, it is supported by the guys. So you can even rotate it through the 360 degrees. And the stiff one, it is the stiff guide does not, it has a stiffened leg, it can move only in the boom length. It cannot rotate to 360 degrees, but it will rotate to 45 degrees down and 45 degrees up. So the derrick can be constructed up to 200 tons capacity. This is another advantage where the whirling cranes cannot go for up to 200 tons. It is 70 to 120 tons capacity. In stiff leg type derricks, the guy wires are replaced by trussed structures. So the movement is very less. So here you can see, this is one of the derrick cranes which will have only one mast here, and it will have the swing so that it will, this one mast is there and this is a guys. So the guys can rotate to 360 degrees. This is a stiff leg where it is based on the only the trusses. So it is not able to move this alone. That is, the swing alone will not move. The entire crane has to move through 360 degrees, but it gives more stability rather than the guide crane. The next one, it is a gantry cranes. Gantry cranes is a very important cranes for lifting any or moving any this weight in a industrial areas or in the laboratories. To lift these things, we go for this gantry cranes. It is called as the overhead cranes, and it is indispensable machines in factories and workshops. Okay, this is we cannot do any work in the big factories for lifting the materials for the packing sections or the production section or raw materials, everything. We need this gantry girders. We call it as gantry girder cranes, or we call it as a gantry cranes, right? You can see mostly it will be fixed like this, so it will be allowed to move in this direction, either in this horizontal direction or in the vertical direction. It can be moved. It will have a hook and a chain attached with this, which will be able to carry the load and it will be able to shift it. So tower crane selection, on what basis we can go for a selection of the tower cranes is that the weight, dimension and lift radius of the heaviest load and the maximum freestanding height of the cranes without any damage, how much distance it can freely stand, and maximum braced height of the cranes and crane climbing arrangement, weight of the crane supporting by the structure, available headroom, area that must be reached, hoist speed of the crane, length of the cable the hoist drum can carry. So based on all these things, that we go for the tower crane selection. So till now we are seeing only about the hoisting equipment crane, and we saw about two types. One is mobile crane and next one we saw about the fixed crane today. There are other small equipment which we use for the hoisting purpose without our knowledge. So now we will see. So the hoisting, again I tell what are hoisting equipment? Lifting of the material against gravity and be done with a wide range of equipment, from the small hand of operating simple screw or hydraulic jack. With the help of hydraulic pressure, we will be able to move some materials, right? For example, I tell for hydraulic jack is the lifting of a car. If there is anything repaired with the tire and other things, we will lift the car using the hydraulic jack. So that is also one of the example for this hoisting equipment. So with the modernized cranes and elevators. So apart from cranes, we will see some small equipments which is used for hoisting purpose. One is pulley and sheave, chain hoist, winch, jacks and lift. So first we will see pulley and a wheel. So this is a very old method. You can see that in a well and all, the people will be able to take water out. So there will be a well, means if there is a well, there will be a rod, wooden rod will be there, in which there will be a pulley. So around the pulley there will be one this rope or chain will be there. One rope will be carried by us and another rope we will be allowing to move the buckets inside and taken out. This is one of the arrangement as a pulley and sheave. This I call it as a pulley, this I call it as a sheave. You can see here. So you can see here. So this is a pulley and sheave by which it will be arranged with a hook or mostly in this engineering we will be taking with the hook some weight. So I have attached with the hook. So this is a sheave, pulley and sheave blocks. So this is a very common arrangement in almost all the industrials and the workshop trade. Even today we use it in our home, even use it in the small applications to the greater applications. Okay. So this is very important. The next one, it is the chain hoist. So this is a chain hoist. So here you can see the principle is similar to the pulley and the sheave, but instead of that rope and other things we are using the heavy chains. So this chain will have, so when the chains are there and we have to go for more tons, more than 10 tons or 20 tons to lift, we will have this chain block and the gear arrangement by which the movement can be slow or it can be organized. We can be slow, we can regulate the movement, regulate the speed low so that we can shift more amount of weight with the help of this chain hoist. The next one, winch. All of you know what is a winch. Winch are mostly used even here somewhere where you can receive winch in Andhra. I think in Sri Shailam there is a pond like, so to reach that one we have a winch there. But the winch is mostly, it is a movement in a horizontal direction, but it is in a certain height. So from the bottom we can take it to a certain height and it can move horizontally to some height with the help of the winches, right? So the same winches will be used in when we are moving material from a bottom part of a mountain to the hill or a mountain to the top part of the mountain, right? For any construction of tunnels or construction of railways or construction of roadways or construction of dams, bridges, everything. So moving from a, that is in a slopey area, we use this winches. So it is a mechanism and the shape of the cylinder or drum over which the rope or chain will be wound, right? So here one end will be there and another end will be there. So here the ropes or the winch will be there. So movement will be like this, depending upon the circular movement. There will be two drums and the rope or a, that is a crawler type will be there in which the winch will be attached. So we can allow the load to move in a slopey areas or from one distance to other distance where we can take it at one distance to another distance. So it is either hand winch or it will be a power winch. So power winches is mostly, this is a manual winch where we can have a handle and we can use the winch to move, and power mostly it is an electrical operated winch. It is either it can be mechanically operated, but mostly it is an electrical operator, and you can see here by which this rope is wounded now, so it can be loosened so that the winch will move from one place to another. So the next one, it is a hydraulic jack. I told you just now about the example of a car lifting. So that is the main thing. So where this is the pulley, it will have oil will be there. So depending upon the pressure, these machines can be lifted high. Mostly in the industrials where to lift a very big machines, we use only the hydraulic jacks. Even you can see in our labs, right? So the compression testing machine, universal testing machine, everything moves up and down with the help of this hydraulic jacks only, with the help of the hydraulic pumps, where it have a cylinder, piston, and also this is a principle where even in the cars, every vehicles will have this hydraulic jacks. You can see this is a very other types of hydraulic jacks. That is a racket jacks and the screw jacks. These are very old type. The next one, it is a lift. So lift, we all know what is a lift. So when we go for first floor to third floor, we use lift, right? So that is a lifting of materials from one floor to another. That is for men or material. So when you go for a construction site, you will have a lift-like system where you used to carry the concrete, carry the machineries, carry the men, everything. So that is also one of the hoisting equipment. So you can see here it is a cage lift. This is an ordinary lift where it is all cage like this, closed lift. Men and material, anyone can be done. So this is the principle. And also shaft lift. Shaft will be there by which we will be used to move the materials. Mostly it will be having a platform without any cage. It will be open platform structures where you can use it more. You will be seeing in most of the small construction buildings also. So these are the hoisting equipment. So these are the different types of lift system. So now we will see about the costing and economy. So what is the cost? We have seen about the pulley system, jack system, lift system, cranes. So when I have to go for a taking a hoisting equipment, so what will be the range, right? So if I am going for a pulley and sheet block, it will be 30,000 to 1,20,000. If I am going to get an electric chain hoist 2 tons capacity, it will be 30,000 to 1,20,000, 12 lakhs, right? And electrical winches will be 8,400 to 3 lakhs, and hydraulic jacks will be 30,000 to 84,000 depending upon the tons it has to carry. Overhead crane, gantry crane will be 3,60,000 to 8. That is, it is 1,80,000, and depending upon the gantry crane height and movement, horizontal and vertical, it depends. And tower cranes will be 6 crores to 12 crores. And 17-ton hydraulic crawler crane. I told you now it will be a wheeled type or a crawler type. It will be 1,50,000. No, it is 15 lakhs to 1 crore 80,000. Right? 18 lakhs. It is 1.8 crores. It is 15 lakhs to 1 crore 80,000. Right? And the elevators, all of you know that we are using the lift now, we are always repairing it now, but you see what is the rate you can see here, it is 6 lakhs to 18 lakhs depending upon the weight it has to carry. And the next one, it is a fixed derrick crane, so the rate is 15 lakhs 60,000 to 24 lakhs, and the mobile cranes will be, it depends upon the speed, it depends how much it has to carry, what is the purpose and other things, it will be 12 lakhs to 30 lakhs. Truck cranes of 7 tons will be 50 lakhs to 1,80,000, and truck mounted cranes is a very, very costly one, right? It will go from 12 crores to 18 crores. No, not 12 crores, sorry, 1.2 crores to 1.8 crores. So what are the advantages of this hoisting equipment? All of you know, without hoisting equipment, if I want to construct a skyscrapers or a very big buildings, everything, now it is not possible. On the day, men used to carry that much of load, but even today we are not able to carry even 25 bags of rice. We feel very difficult, right? So hoisting equipment assists in the lifting and positioning of the large heavy loads in a variety of industries, including automotive industries, commercial, newspapers, steel, warehouses, paper, manufacturing, chemicals, and also in the construction. In the construction of residential buildings, industrial buildings, bridges, ports, airports, etc. We are using this hoisting equipment. This hoisting equipment provides variety of benefit. The first one, it is the customizable. Customizable means depending upon the hook arrangement, depending how much lift I have to carry, weight I have to carry, I can model and design the equipment. I can order that equipment which capacity I needed. So it is a customizable. How much distance I have to take the load, how much distance I have to keep it, either I have to keep it vertically or I have to keep it horizontally, everything I can customize it. The second one, ergonomics. Ergonomics means they take the strain of the operators, reducing fatigue and lowering the risk of injuries. If a man is there, he has to lift that much of load, his entire body will be there. If there is any accidents due to the falling of the load, everything, there will be loss of life, loss of parts of the body, everything. Everything can be minimized. Even the strain that is caused by the person can be minimized with the help of this hoisting equipment. The next one, it is flexible. So it is having a longer lifting capability, and it also can be lifted to a greater distance. That it is flexible for the use. That every crane is not meant for particularly using only for this type of work. We can use it for the multiple work based on our need. Next one, it is indoor and outdoor use. Most cranes can be used indoor or outdoor. A lift can be used indoor or it can be used outdoor. Similarly, all the equipments can be used indoor or outdoor. And lower maintenance cost. Based on the equipment type, what I am going to select, I can have a lower maintenance cost and positioning of the cranes. If I have to, as I told you, showed you the fixed cranes, if I have to go for a tower crane, it can be fixed so that it will be useful for 4 or 5 buildings. No, I am having only one building that is on the remote area, then I can go in for a mobile crane. Right? I can go in for that. The next one, it is portable. So it can be easily taken to the site, it can be easily taken from one site to another site, and reduction in product damage. So obstacles, everything can be taken by the hoist itself. It is not necessary that we have to clean the entire area. All obstacles has to be demolished to go for a lifting or shifting places. This can be done with the help of cranes. And also you can see safety. This is another thing that's a more important thing. With the hoisting equipment, safety can be ensured. Nowadays, either it is a main operator or we can operate with the help of the electronics, that is the software control. We can go in for the minimizing of the time, minimizing of the time. Then the injury caused to the people can be minimized and machines can be safely lifted. And also, what is the usage is the assembly of the different things. A big truss we saw now, it is taken and it is going for the assembly. The entire bridge can be assembled, precasted or prefabricated, and it can be taken and fitted. So that is assembly of the different parts, positioning of the different parts, positioning the biggest beams or the bridge girders, everything in its position. We can have this cranes. And transportation to a very high distance or from the very high distance to certain positions, horizontally also we can do it. Even into the sea, into the river, oceans we can do it. Then staging is nothing but when your work is in progress, we have to go on for a placing of some things also we can do. So holding work in progress, and then we can stop it and we can go for different stages of work. Not that we have to complete one platform, then we have to go for another one. Instead, we can go for different stages at a single time. Storage and also transportation, every heavy items to the place, and we can store it based on the height of storage. Maybe 10 feet or 20 feet height I have to store. I can store with the help of this cranes. And warehousing. Warehousing is keeping or storing more amount of materials which are very heavy, everything that can be done with the help of this hoisting equipment. So what are the disadvantages of the hoisting equipment? Mostly the disadvantage is that slow speed in lifting, slow working. Mobile cranes are little bit okay, but tower cranes we have to be very careful. And also hydraulic engine costs a lot of space. So when we go for a hydraulic based engines, it takes a lot of space by which other works will be minimized. Electric, this is very important, right? This is very good, also very important. Are not good with heavier loads, but for shorter loads. Electric hoist is the speed necessary place to be installed, because we can't install an electrical hoist without any electric power. So when you go for electric hoist, I have to go where the electric power is there. Based on that, I have to hoist the hoisting equipment. I have to install the hoisting equipment. Electric hoists will be static. Mostly electric hoists will be static because electric power cannot be taken here and there. So that is one of the another disadvantage. And electric hoist is that it needs electric power source. Okay, that is needed. It is to be placed above the ground, because it cannot place it below the ground. There will be some shortage will be there. So it has to be placed above the ground. And the lifting of the load is very slow. I told already this one. And the cranes are used, mostly the cranes that are used are expensive, right? Per year, I will show you per hour what will be the cost also. Due to the direct support crane tower in the construction, they need for checking the structure, when necessary temporary reinforcement and increased cost. I told you that tower crane can be installed wherever it is possible by designing the trusses. But the trusses design, installation of the trusses, everything will be very costlier. And due to the crane installed at the elevator shaft of the building, the crane installation will affect the construction schedule of the basement structure. This is not always, but in some cases it will be there. So now I will tell you we have come to the ending. Approximate hiring charges. If I want truck mounted 70 tons crane, I will have to pay 40,000 per day. If it is a mobile crane of 15 tons, 10,000 per day. Chain hoist is 5,000 per day. Tower crane 90,000 to 1,20,000 per day. So approximately I have given. So you can see that what is the cost of these cranes when I am going to hire it for the construction project. So that much big construction project we are going in for this for tower cranes or the other the mobile cranes or the fixed cranes. But for small work we will be using the platforms or the lift or the chains or the pulleys to get the materials done. Okay. So by which I complete the this topic, that is we have seen about the fixed cranes, mobile cranes, hoisting equipment, what are the advantages and disadvantages, and what are the usage of this. Next class we will see the next topic. Thank you.